What is going on, you guys? It is your man Morgan Man. Thank you so much for tuning back in to yet another episode of Eat Tuesday right here on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. Guys, I don't know about you, but this past weekend's CDL matches were fantastic. Like, you got the biggest upsets with Florida Mutineers. I was fixing to say Florida Rocker, but the Florida Mutineers totally upsetting the Optic Chicago squad, handing them their second straight 3-0. The very first one came from the Minnesota Rocker, which was the first shocker of the weekend, and then now you get the second shocker, and it'll come by Optic Chicago, man. I tell you, it's crazy. Dallas Empire's not doing great. Slasher, someone needs to check on him because he was not happy after that Atlanta FaZe match with LA Thieves, because Simp, of course, he had a bad day. But still, Simp with a bad day still went off. Still went off and shooting bodies. Yeah, the pros don't really like that much. And I believe that's what really kind of like just pissed Slasher off. And just in general, losing to the Atlanta FaZe, like, dude, we had them in a lot of situations, but yet they came out victorious. Like, what the happened? So, a lot of action happened this past weekend. So, I highly recommend you go to the Call of Duty League YouTube channel and really rewatching all the matches that happened throughout the entire weekend. It was just nothing but short of phenomenal right there. But guys, we are going to talk about the LA Guerrillas home series. And that will start off with the Florida Mutineers taking on the Dallas Empire at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 1st, this Thursday. Honestly, Florida Mutineers, I believe, can win this series right here against Dallas. At least in a 3-1 fashion. I cannot see Florida really 3-0 the Dallas Empire, because the Dallas Empire is just a notch above the Optic Chicago squad, and it's just a solid foundation. But then your Dallas Empire, you lose to the Florida Mutineers 3-1. Now you guys start asking yourself, all right, did we get rid of the wrong person after Modern Warfare? And I believe it was yes. I believe you should have got rid of, let's see, Shotzi, Illy, Hugh. I'd say Illy. Really, Illy needs to go. You need someone in there in his place. He's a great, phenomenal talent, but Illy just has to go. I mean, he really does. And everything is, I'm having to work both the laptop right here and my phone, because if all of them goes black, it just messes everything up, man. But anyways, we're not going to talk much about no more matches right here. We're just going to go run down through the list right here. But Florida 3-1. Next up at 4:30, that April 1st, you have the Seattle Surge taking on Optic Chicago. Definitely, guys, I see Optic winning this one, but in a 3-2 fashion. Seattle Surge is not slowing down by any means necessary, but this will at least make them pump the brakes just a little bit, not much. Gives them a huge momentum booster right here when it comes to heading into the Major 2 tournament, which will be next week, which I'll, of course, will cover for you guys. April 2nd, you have the London Royal Ravens taking on the Toronto Ultra. I'm just going to say the Ravens right here, guys, are going to win this one 3-2 over the Ultra. Then you got the LAG taking on the Atlanta FaZe squad. This got to be a 3-0. I cannot see Atlanta FaZe dropping to Los Angeles Guerrillas right now, or any team for that matter of fact. Next up on April 3rd at 3 p.m., you have the Paris Legion taking on the Florida Mutineers. Guys, Florida Mutineers is getting the 3-0 this Paris Legion squad. I just cannot see Paris outbeating that right now. Yes, Paris Legion is a great team, and they do got a great roster with scraps on there, but it's just not going to be enough to outbeat Florida right now. April 3rd, also you have the Seattle Surge taking on the Minnesota Rocker. Definitely Seattle is coming off a devastating loss that they think they should have really won right there against Optic Chicago. But they're going to take their frustrations out on the Minnesota Rocker right here, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe the Seattle Surge can win against the Rocker. Yes, Standy is on the Minnesota Rocker right now, and is doing fantastic because they're 2-0 right now with Standy. But they're watching his tape too. They're watching his VOD, and they're going to learn every single little tactic that he is using in game to get an advantage over you, and they're going to make you pay for that. And I believe that's where Octane is definitely going to be like that difference maker when it comes to taking Standy out in like S&Ds and hard points. For your last matchup of the day, this is your game field marquee matchup. You got the Toronto Ultra taking on the New York Subliners. I see Clayster really going off in this game against Toronto, and the Subliners will win 3-1. I at least see Ultra with maybe a hardpoint win over the Subliners, but past that, the New York Subliners are definitely going to win this series, improving their record to 4-1, and FaZe is 4-0. So technically right now, FaZe is the current leader whenever it comes to the Major 2 bracket. So really, if you're Atlanta FaZe, you're hoping that New York loses this match, because in that scenario, Atlanta FaZe automatically clinches that number 1 seed headed into the Major 2 tournament. But if not, you're going to have to go up against the London Royal Ravens that April 4th to kick off the day, and that right there will solidify the win and the number 1 seed headed into the Major 2 tournament. And honestly, I believe the Atlanta FaZe can beat the London Royal Ravens at least 3-1. April 4th, your second matchup of the day, you got both LA teams facing off against one another. I believe the Los Angeles Guerrillas can, in fact, beat the LA Thieves. The LA Thieves are just not that good, man. I just cannot see building any sort of hype around this team right now. They got to go back to the drawing board and figure out a different strategy of attacking both control, hardpoint, and S&D, because that Atlanta FaZe matchup, that exploited a lot of flaws in your matches, or excuse me, in your coaching staff, whenever it comes to, routes, flanks, whatever. So LAG, I think, is going to win 3-1 in this scenario. And then your game field marquee matchup for April 4th, that Sunday at 6 p.m. You have the Optic Chicago squad taking on the Dallas Empire. Guys, oh my gosh, this is very hard to pick because these teams are good in their own right, but they're also losing a lot of matches that they should be winning. Me personally, and this is just me, I believe that the Dallas Empire is just a better overall team than Optic Chicago. Optic Chicago has a lot more frustrations going into this matchup than the Dallas Empire does. And the Dallas Empire, they got Shotzi, who exploits any kind of map, deficient or head glitches or whatever the case may be. And you got Crimsix, who's a 3-time world champion in his own right. So no one is going to tell him your bench, because Crimsix will say you like that. And that's me blurring out that as well. So hope I did a good job on that. But anyways, yes, the Dallas Empire is going to win this 3-2. I just cannot see Optic Chicago really beating the Dallas Empire, and Optic Chicago will have, if I'm not mistaken, they will have probably maybe a number 9th seed going into the Major 2 tournament because of their 3 straight losses, if of course they lose to the Dallas Empire this Sunday. So that's going to be very perfect for the Atlanta FaZe, because I see them completely sweeping the competition this weekend with LAG and the London Royal Ravens, and just improving their record to what I believe will be 15-0, or it's between 13 and 15-0. would be the current map or win-loss record for the Atlanta FaZe. Still be undefeated in the regular season, kind-ish, if you want to put it that way. But if you're going to go with, major tournament, then oh yes, definitely we're undefeated still in any category pretty much. So you cannot dispute Atlanta FaZe right now being undefeated. But anyway, guys, I sure hope you did enjoy, and if you did, make sure to like button right here on YouTube. Make sure you are sharing on all the social media platforms whenever it comes to the YouTube and the streaming platforms, because I do have the audio version of this podcast available as well at the same time that this video drops at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Tuesday, which of course you're watching right now. So anyways, guys, again, hope you all enjoyed, and I, Coworkin, will catch you all later. Peace.